Welcome back to Think and Speak podcast. Today's episode is for anyone who feels distracted, overwhelmed, or stuck in the same patterns. Daniel, we're surrounded by information, but focus feels harder than ever. Why do you think training the brain has become such a critical skill today?
Because modern life constantly pulls our attention in different directions. Without mental discipline, even talented people struggle to move forward.
Exactly. This episode is not just motivational, it's practical. We're going to talk about how language, mindset, and daily habits shape focus, discipline, and long-term success.
And we'll do it through real conversation, modern English, and clear examples that help you train both your brain and your communication skills.
If you want to build a winning mindset and speak English with confidence and clarity, this episode is for you.
Before we begin, take a moment to like this video and leave a comment below. Tell us, what distracts you the most in your daily life?
Your comments help this channel grow and help others find these lessons. Now let's train our brains to win together. Daniel, when people hear the phrase, train your brain to win, it sounds powerful but also abstract. From your perspective, what does it actually mean to train the brain? And how does focus play a role in building a winning mindset in both life and language learning?
Training the brain means deliberately shaping how you think, react, and sustain attention over time. In simple terms, it's moving from automatic behavior to intentional behavior. Focus is the foundation of this process because without focus, discipline cannot exist. From a language learning perspective, focus means choosing depth over distraction. Many learners jump from one app to another, from one video to the next, without sustained attention. Grammatically speaking, this is similar to starting a sentence and never finishing it. You have structure, but no completion. A winning mindset values completion. Let's use an example. A distracted learner might say, I try to learn English every day, but I stop. Notice the present simple tense here, which describes a repeated habit. However, a focused learner reframes this using intentional language. I have committed to practicing English for 30 minutes daily. The present perfect tense signals commitment and continuity, which reflects a stronger mindset. Training the brain also involves controlling internal dialogue. Many people use limiting phrases like, I can't focus, or I'm not disciplined. These are declarative sentences that define identity. A smarter approach is to use modal verbs and growth-oriented phrases, such as, I'm learning to focus better, or I can improve my discipline with practice. Modals like can and will open possibility instead of closing it. Focus improves when goals are specific. Compare. I want to improve. Vague, general noun. I want to improve my listening accuracy by practicing podcasts. Clear object and purpose. This specificity mirrors good English grammar. Clear subjects, strong verbs, and defined objects. A winning mindset also uses cause and effect thinking. Phrases like, if I focus consistently, I will see results, use the first conditional, which is common in motivation and planning. This structure reinforces logical thinking and responsibility. Finally, training the brain requires repetition. Just as fluency comes from repeated exposure to grammar patterns, mental strength comes from repeated focus. When learners practice focused attention daily, even in short sessions, they train their brain to resist distraction. In both language and life, focus is not talent, it's a trained skill. And skills improve with deliberate, structured practice.
That makes sense, Daniel. Discipline, however, often feels difficult to maintain. Many people start motivated but lose consistency quickly. How can discipline be developed in a realistic way? And how does language influence our ability to stay disciplined?
Discipline is often misunderstood as strict control, but in reality, discipline is structured flexibility. It's the ability to act consistently, even when motivation decreases. Language plays a crucial role because the words we use shape how we interpret effort and failure. Let's look at verb tense usage. People who lack discipline often speak using excuses framed in the past simple, I tried before, but it didn't work. This tense closes the experience. Disciplined thinkers, however, reframe using the present continuous or present perfect, I am working on building discipline, or I have been practicing consistency. These tenses suggest an ongoing process, not a finished failure. Discipline improves when actions are small and measurable. Linguistically, This aligns with using action verbs. Instead of abstract nouns like success or motivation, disciplined language uses verbs such as practice, review, repeat, and commit. Verbs create movement. Another powerful tool is self-instruction. Disciplined people give themselves clear commands using imperative structures: start now, focus for 10 minutes, or finish this task. These short sentences reduce cognitive load and increase follow-through. Modal verbs again play a role. Saying, I should practice, implies obligation without action. Saying, I will practice, signals intention. The shift from should to will is small grammatically, but powerful psychologically. Examples matter as well. Consider these two sentences. I don't have time. Negative declarative. I will make time by adjusting my schedule. Future tense with solution. The second sentence reflects ownership and discipline. Consistency also benefits from conditional thinking. Using zero conditional structures like, if I skip practice, I lose progress, reinforces cause and consequence. This structure is common in habits and rules, making discipline more automatic. Finally, disciplined learners forgive small failures. Instead of saying, I failed, they say, I missed one day, so I'll continue tomorrow. This uses contrast conjunctions like so and but, which allow recovery instead of collapse. Discipline grows when language becomes intentional, precise, and action-oriented. When people speak with structure, they begin to act with structure, and that is how discipline becomes sustainable.
Let's bring everything together, Daniel. A winning mindset is something many people desire, but few truly build. What daily mental and language habits help someone develop a long-term winning mindset, especially in today's fast-paced world?
A winning mindset is not a personality trait. It's a collection of daily habits reinforced by consistent language patterns. One of the most important habits is reflection. Taking a few minutes each day to review actions using past simple or present perfect tense builds awareness. For example, today, I stayed focused for 20 minutes, or I have improved my concentration this week. These sentences reinforce progress. Another habit is goal articulation. Winning thinkers state goals clearly using future forms: I will complete this task, or I am going to improve my skills. The future tense creates direction, while vague language creates hesitation. Mental strength also depends on reframing challenges. Instead of saying, this is difficult, winning thinkers say, this is challenging, but manageable. This uses contrast conjunctions and evaluative adjectives, which soften negativity without denying reality. Vocabulary choice matters. Words like opportunity, progress, and practice replace words like problem and failure. This does not ignore difficulty, it changes interpretation. In grammar terms, this is semantic reframing. Daily exposure to focused input is also essential. Reading, listening, or learning without multitasking trains sustained attention. Summarizing content using reporting phrases such as, the key idea is, or what I learned today is, strengthens both mindset and language output. Another critical habit is self-encouragement. Using affirmative statements in the present simple, I show up daily, I stay committed, reinforces identity. Identity-based language is powerful because behavior often follows self-definition. Finally, winning mindsets accept time and patience. Using adverbs like gradually, consistently, and over time reflects realistic thinking. Progress is rarely instant, and language that acknowledges process prevents burnout. In a fast-paced world, the strongest advantage is a trained mind. When daily habits, disciplined language, and focused thinking align, winning is no longer accidental, it becomes inevitable.
Daniel, many people consume motivational content every day, but they still feel mentally weak when pressure appears. They feel inspired for a moment, then fall back into old habits. From your experience, what is the difference between temporary motivation and true mental strength? And how can people train their minds to stay strong when motivation fades?
This is a critical distinction, Emma. Motivation is emotional. Mental strength is structural. Motivation often depends on mood, energy, or external influence, while mental strength is built through habits, systems, and disciplined thinking. In grammatical terms, motivation lives in the present moment, while mental strength operates across time. People often say, I feel motivated today, using the present simple to describe a temporary state. Mentally strong individuals use language that reflects continuity and responsibility, such as, I follow my routine even when I don't feel motivated. This sentence uses a dependent clause and highlights consistency rather than emotion. True mental strength is built through process-focused thinking. Instead of focusing on results, strong thinkers focus on actions. Compare. I want success. Abstract noun, unclear. I work on my skills every day. Clear subject plus action verb. The second sentence creates identity and structure. Language also plays a powerful role in handling pressure. Under stress, weak mental habits use absolute language like always, never, or I can't. These adverbs and modal verbs close possibilities. Strong thinkers replace them with flexible language such as right now, this part, or I'm learning to handle this. These phrases keep the mind open and adaptive. Another key tool is routine-based discipline. Mentally strong people reduce decision-making by repeating behaviors. Linguistically, this aligns with zero conditional structures. If it's 7 a.m., I start my work. This removes emotion from action and builds automatic discipline. Mental strength also involves recovery language. Instead of saying, I failed, strong thinkers say, I slowed down, so I'll adjust. The conjunction so introduces solution-oriented thinking. This prevents small setbacks from becoming identity-level failures. Finally, repetition is essential. Just as grammar accuracy improves through repeated exposure, mental strength improves through repeated stress handled correctly. Each challenge becomes practice. Motivation may start the journey, but mental strength sustains it. When people shift their language from emotional reaction to structured intention, they train a mind that performs even when inspiration disappears.
Daniel, let's focus on identity. Many successful people say, I am disciplined or I am focused, while others say, I try to be disciplined. How does identity-based language influence behavior? And how can learners consciously use English to build a stronger, winning self-image?
Identity-based language is one of the most powerful forces shaping behavior. The difference between I am disciplined and I try to be disciplined lies in the verb tense and certainty. The first uses the present simple to define identity. The second uses a verb phrase that signals hesitation and incompleteness. When people define themselves using strong declarative sentences, behavior often follows. For example, saying, I am someone who finishes what I start, creates a mental rule. Grammatically, this is a defining relative clause, and psychologically, it becomes a standard for action. Learners can build a winning self-image by consciously choosing identity statements. These are short, clear sentences in the present simple, such as, I show up daily. I focus on progress. I handle challenges calmly. These sentences reinforce consistency because the brain seeks alignment between language and action. Another important aspect is verb choice. Weak identity language uses passive or vague verbs like hope, wish, or try. Strong identity language uses active verbs such as build, practice, and commit. Active verbs place the speaker in control. Adverbs also matter. Adding words like consistently, intentionally, or daily strengthens identity. For example, I practice intentionally sounds far more powerful than I practice sometimes. Frequency adverbs directly influence discipline. Negative self-talk must also be addressed. Saying, I'm bad at this, uses an adjective to permanently label ability. A growth-oriented alternative is, I'm improving at this, which uses the present continuous tense to show development. This subtle grammatical shift changes mindset dramatically. Another effective habit is spoken affirmation combined with evidence. Instead of empty repetition, learners should connect identity statements to action. I am disciplined because I follow my schedule. The conjunction because reinforces logic and belief. Finally, identity grows through repetition. Just as fluency develops by repeating sentence patterns, confidence develops by repeating empowering language paired with action. When learners align grammar, vocabulary, and self-definition, they don't just speak better English, they become stronger thinkers. A winning mindset begins with the words you use to describe who you are.
Daniel, many people say they want success, focus, and discipline, but their daily environment constantly distracts them. Phones, notifications, multitasking, and pressure. How does the environment influence the brain? And what practical mental and language strategies can help people protect their focus and train a winning mindset despite constant distractions?
Environment plays a far greater role in mental performance than most people realize. The brain naturally responds to cues around it, and without control, those cues dictate behavior. In linguistic terms, the environment often becomes the subject of the sentence instead of the person. People say, "My phone distracted me," which places responsibility outside themselves. A stronger mindset shifts the subject back to the speaker, "I chose to check my phone." This simple grammatical change restores agency. When learners consistently use active voice instead of passive structures, they reinforce personal control. Protecting focus starts with reducing decision fatigue. Mentally strong people create rules using zero-conditional sentences such as, "If I'm working, my phone stays away." These structures remove emotion and turn focus into a system rather than a struggle. Language also helps manage distraction internally. When the brain feels overwhelmed, people often use exaggerating adverbs like constantly or never, as in, "I can never focus." These absolute expressions weaken motivation. Replacing them with time-bound phrases like "right now" or "during this task" narrows the problem and makes it manageable. Another key strategy is task labeling. Before starting, disciplined thinkers verbally define the task. For the next 20 minutes, I am focusing on one task. This uses the present continuous tense to create mental boundaries and commitment. Environmental control also includes positive cues. Associating specific places with focus, such as a desk used only for work, conditions the brain. Over time, the brain responds automatically. This mirrors language learning, where repeated context strengthens meaning. Finally, reflection reinforces control. Using sentences like, "I stayed focused because I removed distractions," connects action and outcome using cause and effect structures. This builds confidence and accountability. When people align environment, language, and intention, distractions lose power. Focus stops being a battle and becomes a trained response.
Daniel, as we approach the end of this episode, many listeners might feel motivated but unsure how to measure progress. Mental growth is invisible, unlike physical results. How can people track focus, discipline, and mindset improvement realistically? And how can language help them recognize progress instead of feeling stuck?
This is an essential question because progress that is not recognized often feels like failure. Mental growth is subtle, and without reflection, people underestimate how far they've come. Language becomes the main tool for making invisible progress visible. One effective method is daily mental reporting. At the end of the day, people can describe their actions using the past simple or present perfect tense, "I completed my tasks," or "I have maintained focus longer today." These sentences reinforce achievement and continuity. Tracking progress also requires specific metrics. Vague statements like, "I was better today," lack clarity. Stronger language includes details. "I focused for 30 minutes without checking my phone." This uses quantifiers and time expressions, which improve both accuracy and motivation. Another important habit is comparing progress to your past self, not others. Linguistically, this involves comparative structures. "I'm more focused than I was last month." Comparatives highlight growth and prevent discouragement. People often feel stuck because they use negative summaries such as, "Nothing has changed." This sentence uses an absolute pronoun that erases progress. A more accurate alternative might be, "Progress has been slow, but it is consistent." The conjunction "but" allows balance and realism. Mindset tracking also benefits from process language. Instead of outcome-based statements like, "I didn't succeed," disciplined thinkers say, "I followed the process today." This shifts focus from results to behavior, which is sustainable. Another useful strategy is weekly reflection. Using reporting phrases such as, "What improved this week was," or "One challenge I handled better was," encourages awareness and confidence. Finally, patience must be built into language. Using adverbs like gradually, steadily, and over time normalizes slow growth and prevents frustration. When people learn to describe progress accurately, they stop feeling stuck. Language gives shape to growth, and once growth is visible, discipline becomes easier to maintain. That awareness is what turns effort into long-term success.